News. Actor says binder of evidence not allowed in depth trial could have changed verdict. So this is what her lawyers have been saying, that when they were doing their rounds on different interviews. But Amber Heard has claimed that a binder of evidence, including therapist notes and text messages that the jury didn't see, could have changed the verdict in her defamation trial with ex-husband Johnny Depp. I don't agree with that, because when you look into abuse victims who finally do make that change and make that effect, they do when they're trying to get out of the situation like that, because I understand it can be a trap. I understand that it can be hard for women or for men or for whoever partner. Bon Bon, what's up, G? Good to see you. Always good to see your cute little emote face. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome in. We're talking about Amber Turd here. What's up, bruh? So we're talking about the Turdius herself, and hopefully this will be the last that we talk about this. But I just couldn't pass it up. I just could not pass up another Amber Heard thing. The Turd Meister. Yo, I've it's all been ladies who've all been like, yeah, fuck her, like that. But I've had like maybe one or two people who are like really mad at me for posting this shit. Like, she fucking didn't get it right. She didn't get a day of trial. It wasn't cool. Everything sucks. Blah 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 blah. What's up, fellow butt slut, mighty mighty? Anyways, the butt sluts. We'll never forget that. Never forget. We're gonna go to Hooters. We're gonna take the butt sluts out to Hooters. God damn it. It's going to be a good time. Miss Heard's full interview with NBC's Savannah Guthrie, that's who it was, aired on Dateline on Friday night, where the Aquaman actor... was she really acting in that movie? The Aquaman actor said that her therapist had contemporaneously documented contemporaneously documented her allegations of abuse since 2011. So what I was getting at was that when you do read up on this, because I was reading up on this, and because it is fascinating for me, not that I think it's fascinating that people are abusing each other, but you know, the psychology is very interesting. But like when women do come forward and start trying to get out of these situations and start trying to prosecute their abusers, it's not just therapist notes. It's like it's documented hospital visits. It's all of that. It's the time the cops were called. It's all that shit, man. And she has no evidence of her being physically abused other than some poorly done bruises, which she even said on the stand that she had a bruise kit, which you literally can buy a bruise kit. It's called a bruise kit. It's makeup. It's called a bruise kit. She called it a bruise kit on the stand. She was calling it a bruise kit. It was a mistake. She didn't mean to, but that's what it is. And that's very telling in itself. She has no receipts on that. It's all therapist and text messages. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you need some real evidence, man. Ladies, if you're ever abused by some shitty dude, I give you full permission to stab away. Yo, I had a friend who, she was dating this rich dude. They were both high on drugs. They were both drug addicts. And he used to go nuts and beat the shit out of her. Well, she wasn't one to fuck with. She's Mexican. And she was not one to fuck with because she would fuck you up. She would fuck you up if she felt like she was trapped in this relationship. She was kind of depending on him for money. Yeah, those flags though. And what ended up happening was that he beat the shit out of her and was like really fucking her up. And one day she was done with that. And he was beating her so bad that she ran and grabbed a knife to defend herself and stabbed this motherfucker and punctured his fucking bitch ass lung. Now, she was getting beaten so bad that she felt she had to go and beat the now. And of course, they were both high on drugs. So what ends up happening is that she ends up getting arrested for stabbing him. His family is well off, and they can afford good lawyers. She cannot. She's poor. And they ended up offering her a plea bargain, and she could have. They offered her 4 months in a halfway house, which is basically a home for people that don't know what that is. It's a home for people. You have to go live in this place. You can only leave for work. Other than that, you have to live in this home. And you might get some time to be able to go out and do stuff, but you can't bring any drugs home. You have to be home by a certain time, and or else you go straight to prison. So she got a public pretender, and the public pretender was like, "No, this was self-defense. I can easily get you off." All she had to do was she had to take the felony, and the public pretender was like, "No, don't take the felony. I can get you off on self-defense." So plea bargain is over. She decides to take it to trial. They go to trial. She gets 4 years in federal state prison. That don't make sense. Federal state? State prison. 4 years, 4 fucking years plus the felony. She ends up going to prison. So just be careful. The best thing to do is to go get. I'd take it 4 months. Yeah, I agree. And I remember talking to her because she called me, and I was like, "Damn, dude, I would take that 4 months." And she was like, "No, my public defender said they can get me off." And I was like, "Oh, fuck." I remember she called me from jail, and she's just like, "I don't know what to do." And I was like, I would just fucking do better, kill with no trace. I can't say to go out and kill anybody, friends. I don't want anybody out there killing anybody. I don't want anybody getting abused. No one should be subjected to that. But yeah, it was such a bummer, man. And she really was. They really sent her ass to prison, and this dude was beating the fuck out of her, and because he could afford a lawyer and she couldn't. That's what ended up happening. So it's a very sad story. But she's now out and about. She has a felony, but she's out and about. She has a beautiful little boy who's very cute. I'm all about the beast. Which is why I promote not getting caught. It's true, Bon. You're right. As long as you don't get caught, friends, it's all gravy. But yeah, it's a fucked up situation. It's a fucked up situation. And so, like, when you're dealing with any kind of abuse, the best thing to do is obviously take pictures and obviously go to the hospital. Make that official. Make sure you file a police report. I know that's easier said than done, but that's what you got to do. It's what you got to do. You need hard evidence. Telling your fucking therapist with contemporaneously, that's what it is. Contemporaneously documented her allegations. She contemporaneously documented that don't fucking mean shit. That don't mean nothing. I mean, it means something, but what does that mean? Yeah, the popos suck. Trying to get them to do anything is going to get you nowhere. Go to the hospital. You got to get some kind of real documentation, and that's the thing that she lacked. I could see if she had real documentation of Johnny fucking her up, and it's like, yeah, then fuck Johnny Depp. But none of that was presented, and it was all these manufactured pictures, these weird pictures that was edited. Like these pictures, they were able to prove that these pictures were edited, and like the lighting was changed, the contrast was changed from the original. They were able to prove all of these pictures were mostly garbage. I mean, there was just a lot working against her, and so it wasn't up to snuff. It just wasn't up to snuff. According to the notes, Miss Heard told her therapist that Mr. Depp hit her, threw her on the floor in an alleged incident in 2012. Miss Heard's team also shared text messages, including where she appeared to tell her father that Mr. Depp had kicked her on an airplane. The notes and texts were not allowed as evidence in this case after the judge ruled them Inadmissible. Mr. Depp was denied ever abusing Mrs. Heard. Or Mr. Depp has denied ever abusing Miss Heard. On Thursday, Mr. Depp's team responded to Miss Heard's interview saying, "It's unfortunate that while Johnny is looking to move forward with his life, the defendant and her team are back to repeating, reimagining, and relitigating matters that have already been decided by the court and a verdict that was unequivocally decided by a jury in Johnny's favor." Now, there are jury members that's come out that are saying like she looked really, she stared at them and it was like uncomfortable and they didn't find her genuine. They found her to be disingenuous. And so there's so many, like there's juries now that are coming out and making TikToks and shit. And it's just very interesting to see that, you know, even the jury's coming out and being like, look, we didn't buy it. She didn't come off genuine. She made us uncomfortable by staring at us all the time. Heard's says binder of therapist notes could have led to a different verdict. Heard's text message to therapist, "Johnny did a number on me tonight." Revelation, Amber Heard didn't donate $7 million divorce settlement was a fiasco, says juror. Heard says she still loves Johnny Depp. Trial juror says Amber Heard's ice cold testimony was perceived as crocodile tears. Right here, right there, it says it. Why Heard is speaking out now. And so it's very weird. She shouldn't be allowed to act if that was an example of her skill. Yeah, she's terrible. My dog was stung by... Whoa! No! No! Morby, I'm so sorry. That stinks. Poor baby. No, Amber said that. I think she will appeal and win. The jury was 5 men and 2 women, which isn't fair when it's a case about women, a domestic abuse victim. Maybe she will, Yayas, and welcome in. We appreciate you chiming in on this. But there's just so much evidence that was presented that she just it didn't come off genuine. Like you said, the jury didn't find it. And if you think the jury was stacked against her, I understand that. I can see that. But do you think a jury of all women are going to be different? Should it be a jury of all women? I mean, I don't know if it's going to come off different. I mean, it's just she was caught in so many lies. She was caught, like she wasn't crying, like her tears weren't real. Like it just all came off disingenuous. And I think that no matter how they retry it, I think it's going to come off disingenuous all the same. The UK trial, he was found guilty, and that was him trying to sue the son for calling him a wife beater when it wasn't proven. And so that was a case against the son. And now this is an actual case against Amber Heard and holding her liable. There was text messages where Johnny threatened to rape and burn her, etc. But I guess we will see how it goes. Yeah, but those are text messages. Was that I understand that's a form of abuse too. And I don't want to sit here and say Johnny Depp was some kind of hero among men, right? Like I think that he was probably fucked up on drugs. I'm guessing he was no picnic. Okay, like he should be held at least somewhat accountable for what was going on here. He was sort of feeding into it. I think he was probably as crazy as her. But is there really hard evidence that proves that he was beating her, that he was beating the crap out of her? There's no hard evidence. And when it came down to it, she admitted on stage, on the stand, that she had she had what we call it? She had a bruise kit. I hope so also. Hopefully she has pics of her burn marks. Yeah, exactly. I mean, here's the thing. She had no physical evidence. She had no hospital evidence. If she was, and I understand, again, it's a weird position to be in an abusive relationship, because you can sort of become trapped in it. You can sort of become a victim in it and feel like you're helpless. But if she was capable of taking pictures, if she was capable of recording him when he wasn't paying attention, if she was capable of telling her therapist, She more than hell should have been capable of seeking medical attention and having hard evidence. There was cops that testified that there was no physical evidence. There was makeup artists who said there was no hard evidence. She admitted she had bruise kits, that she made a mistake. It was a Freudian slip, but it was a bruise kit that she did say came out of her mouth. Even if she didn't have physical evidence, I think her words should matter too. I agree, but if there's no physical evidence, words can only go so far. And here's the problem with yayas. Some people are crazy. Some people make shit up. And I'm not saying that's what Amber Heard was. Well, I am saying that. But there are some people who will say things just to hurt another person. And we can't look past it. I say believe every woman until we get to a certain point, or believe every person who is claiming that they're an abuse victim. I agree with that completely. Agree with them until, and then we have to find the evidence. I mean, just because I say that that I'm half horse and half man doesn't mean I'm half horse. Now, I know in today's standards, I could identify as a horse. Even if she didn't have physical evidence, I think her words should matter. I don't think she lies about that, because I don't think women usually lie about this kind of things. And I'm saying that as a woman who was also abused. That's fine. But which half? You know which half, girl. I agree that she doesn't have physical evidence. And for that, I don't think Johnny should go to prison. But I don't think Amber should lose money either, because we don't know for sure that she lied. Well, it seems like most people and the jury themselves, and you could say all day that it was because there was 5 dudes and 2 women. You can say that was stacked against her, but you're hearing it from all sides that she came off disingenuous, and she came off as unbelievable and not believable. I don't think that. I think that we do need to listen to people when they speak up against about abuse, but there has to be some kind of evidence to prove it. Otherwise, we could say anything about anyone, and what we're supposed to believe that is like Barack Obama is my dad, and he beat the shit out of me. Okay, should I be believed? Barack Obama used to beat the fuck out of me every day, and I'm his son, and he touched my wiener. Okay? I could just say that. I can just say that all day. But is it true? Well, where's your evidence? Right? Where's the evidence? And I don't want to discount anybody who's been in an abusive relationship. That's not what I'm saying. Again, I do think we should listen to people who say that they have been abused. We should definitely listen to them, but we definitely need evidence, because people lie. Humans are fallible. Everyone has the capability of lying. We lie every day. Everybody lies constantly lying. Humans lie constantly. I am usually all for believe victims, but so much against her than the pic of her running around with her friend without any injuries. Exactly. She's going on talk shows, where she was supposedly punched in the face with Johnny's ringed up fingers, and she's on a talk show that same night or the next day. That doesn't make sense. There's usually swelling involved. It's hard. I don't mean you are supposed to believe it, but I don't think you should be able to get $10 million from someone we don't know for sure. Well, I can see your point. I see your point, Yayas. I do. And I feel like this wasn't about money for Johnny Depp. I think it was more about redemption, because his career was destroyed. It was destroyed. And, he lost out on a lot of roles. I mean, as a Johnny Depp fan, like I would like to see a bit more roles, but if he really was hurting her and he was doing the terrible things that she was claiming he was doing, I'm going to need a little bit more evidence than just therapist notes and he said, she said, and these poorly taken pictures of her unswollen face, bruise. I don't think that anyone doubts that the relationship between Johnny and Amber was healthy and that there wasn't abuse, but unfortunately there wasn't enough proof and testimonies to convict. Yeah. It wasn't about money. He would have demanded $50 million. That's my opinion. If it wasn't, oh, I see. If it wasn't about money, he wouldn't have demanded $50 million. Yeah. And that's fine. And I get it. And here's the thing too. A lot of people hold a lot of weight on their own personal experiences when they're seeing this case play out. I have friends who've been victims of abuse, women who've been victims of abuse who are, coming at me, and being like, they're holding their own experience, and their own emotional attachment to those experiences and projecting it onto this case. It's like this is a loss for all women who's been abused. And I think I'm sure it's hard not to do that. I'm sure it's hard not to. I've been in abusive relationships before as a guy, but I can stand back and physically abusive, terrible physically abusive. I mean, I'm a dude and she was like 5'1", and so it wasn't like whatever. She maced me, you know what I mean? she definitely closed fist punched me and stuff, but I guess I look at it differently. I look at it as like, was I hurt? Do I carry that around with me? Do I project that onto this case? No, I don't, because I was in a toxic relationship and I was very provocative. Is that the right word? I mean, I would talk shit. I would say horrible things. And so, eventually someone's going to talk shit. I've been in a bar as a drunken drug addict. I've been in bars where I've talked so much shit where I've gotten punched in the nose because, hey, I was talking shit. It's going to happen. You saw the video where she said, well, he is a man who made the world believe he had scissors. Yes, this is the interview. So we're going to take a look at this interview because, yes, we are talking about that one. So we should go check that video out because it is interesting how she's talking. I kind of want to check out this video where a body language expert sort of steps in and starts analyzing what she's saying. So let's go and try. Oh, this was fun. This was a comment left on the Lil Nas X being snubbed due to homophobia. Someone just unloaded on me. This is a good time right here. If you got about 20 minutes, which it took me 20 minutes to even understand what they were saying, but let's look at this. Where's that full interview?
It's been about more than a week since the verdict. As you sit here with me now, has it sunk in?
Let me catch up on this chat first. Oh, sometimes you just need that lesson. It sucks, but it helps you in the long run. Yeah. Helps to know what you don't want. Exactly. Yes, indeed. You don't want to be fucked. Yeah, definitely. Raina saved me from that relationship that I was in. She came and swooped in like an angel from the heavens. The clouds spread, and here she came and swooped me up, and she was like, yo, you got to get on this booty right here because it is sweet. It is a sweet, sweet booty right here. And I was like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's a sweet, sweet booty. Much sweeter than what I had. It wasn't just the clouds that spread. Yeah. Goddamn right.
How could it?
Look at this.
Surreal and difficult.
I'm sorry. Okay, so I don't know if Yaya's is back in here, but she looks like she's literally getting prepped for a scene. Like it literally looks like she's getting ready for a scene.
Has it sunk in?
You're already over it. Look at her.
How could it? Surreal and
difficult.
It
In part,
is.
yes. This has been a long time coming.
Do you stand by your testimony and your accusations against Johnny Depp about abuse?
Of course, to my dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony. I think vast majority
This is
of this
very
trial
edited.
was played out on social media. I think that this trial is an example of that gone haywire, gone.
Now, I do want to say one thing. In Amber Heard's defense, I do think that that was the case indeed. I think that this was a trial that happened on social media. She was convicted, guilty from the beginning. Johnny Depp is a very beloved character. And so, like, there's certain people whereas she would have presented she could have presented all the physical evidence that impossible. And there's still going to be people be like, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. There's still so I do agree with her that it played out on social media and it worked and it was very much against her, which I don't know if that's fair or not, but still I can see her point where it's like she was guilty before the verdict was even read. Amber, when will the clouds all disappear? Amber, where will it lead us from here? With no loving in our souls and no money in our coats. You can't say we're satisfied, Amber. You can't say we never tried. Look at that. Look at that poetry. Poetry by Moving Dutchman. Thank you, Moving Dutchman. Very beautiful. Very beautiful indeed. We love you, Amber. Stay strong.
On amok, and the jury is not immune to that.
You think the jury saw it?
How could they not? I think even the most well-intentioned juror, it would have been impossible to avoid
Angie,
this.
yeah.
Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs saying, "Burn the witch," "Death to Amber." After 3.5 weeks, I took the stand and saw just a courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans who were vocal, energized.
Can you put into words how that felt?
This was the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through.
Angie!
I have never felt more removed from my own humanity. I felt less than human.
I agree, Moving Dutchman. She's never looked better. Like in the courtroom, she looked kind of, blurry, but here in high def, all done up, she is looking pretty hot.
Let's go back to the day of the verdict. Were you feeling confident?
It's a great question.
Is it? You're buying time.
I wish I could say yes to that. I want to say yes to you, but it wouldn't be true. Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation. There was another trial dealt with the same substantive issues that had even more evidence in. In fact, my evidence was largely kept out. Really important pieces of evidence kept out. Done differently, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
Some evidence is admissible in a UK court that is not admissible in a US court. Do you think that maybe he just had better lawyers?
I will say his lawyers did certainly a better job of distracting the jury from the real issues.
For some people,
they did a better job of distracting from the issues. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I mean, they were just a better law team. There was that moment when Camila was just calling objection on her lawyer, and she got so frustrated. She's like, "Well, I just don't know what to do." Like you could tell they were flustered. They didn't. You could tell that they kind of knew that there wasn't enough evidence to make this stick, and she and it just came through. They just came off as weak. Put some respect in saying Captain Jack Sparrow. I honestly do empathize with her. I'm sure it must have sucked basically having the world against you when you are speaking your truth. I think it was a circus show in court, but she also is just the worst. but I wouldn't want to be in her shoes. Absolutely. No, you have to empathize with her. It has to be horrible. But if you're going to take this on and you're going to be the ambassador for abused women, like she was, like the ACLU was trying to paint her, and they actually wrote that fucking op-ed, by the way. She just sort of put her stamp of approval on it. So I couldn't imagine that it feels good. Moving Dutchman, how dare you? 102 subs. A pizza man. Thank you, Moving Dutchman. Look, we're going to do it again. We'll just keep doing it.
We're frankly
Oh, shit, hold on.
disgusted by the whole thing.
We're going to keep doing it until it gets it's never going to get old. Here we go.
Hello, Moving Dutchman. This is Gandalf. Thank you for all that you do for this channel, and always remember, a Moving Dutchman is never late, nor early, but arrives precisely when he means to.
Thank you, Moving Dutchman. I really appreciate that, buddy. You're the best. Claiming to be so important for the movement, but still only pledging the money. Put your money where your mouth is. Yeah, that was a big hit on her, and that even the jury even said that was a big one. And she was up there lying about what pledge means and what, and what actually donation means. And she was all saying like, well, pledge and donations is the same thing to me. They're the same thing. And it's like, bro, these are words we know the meaning of, and you're not. That's not what that means. You're being she was skating around it. She didn't want to admit it, trying to gaslight each and every one. Yeah, it's true. She was trying to gaslight, and it's like, yo, we know what that means. Like, you can't, like, people don't forget that. Juries don't forget that. So it was very, yeah, there was just so much against her. I think there was just so much. There was not. It just wasn't in her favor. If she could just provide one stick of evidence that was, that could physically point to him actually abusing her, that wasn't some doctored up photo or, her therapist notes or what do you call them? Text messages. I just think that we could have put a seal on this, but, and I would be all for Johnny, paying what he should be paying, and doing, if he was sitting there abusing, if you could prove it, I'm all for Johnny paying the consequences for that. It's only right. But.
And don't have much sympathy for either one of you. Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered and not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst. But what people don't understand is it's actually so much bigger than that. This is not only about our First Amendment right to speak.
But here's the thing about the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects free speech. It doesn't protect lies that amount to defamation. And that was the issue in the case.
Yes, exactly. You can't go into, the free speech does not protect you if you go into a crowded theater and you scream fire. We get the concept of free speech from the Greeks. My understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak. It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
But truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke. And I spoke it to power, and I paid the price.
In the
$10
closing
million.
arguments, the Depp lawyer called your testimony the performance of a lifetime and said you were acting. What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers.
Did you see her face? She's like, scene. Woo! I wouldn't give her an Oscar. No, I wouldn't. Is she high? She probably is. She's probably high on drugs.
I'm the performer. I had listened to weeks of testimony
I'm the performer.
insinuating that, or saying quite directly that, I'm a terrible actress.
You are.
So I'm a bit confused how I could be both.
The DEP team argued that you
Wait
were
a
the
second. Nobody. No, but here's the thing. It was a performance of a lifetime, but you're a bad actor. So like, people recognize how bad your acting is. So that's what they're saying. It's like, no one's trying to say you were a good actor. Yeah, exactly. No one was trying to say you're good at what you're doing, baby boo. No one was saying that you were good at it. They're saying that you were acting in general. And like, why are you acting? What purpose? If you're a real victim, why are you up there like putting on such a terrible performance? I mean, besides you being a bad actor, but it's like, why are you putting on this performance? It's like, it's weirdos.
the abuser, that you instigated physical violence. Did you?
I never had to instigate it. I responded to it. When you're living in violence and it becomes normal, as I testified to, you have to adapt.
You say you were responding, but there is evidence. There are tapes in which you acknowledge hitting. There are tapes in which you say, I started the fight.
I know much has been made of these audio tapes. They
Yeah, there evidence. Much has been made of the evidence.
were first leaked online after being edited. What you would hear in those clips are not evidence of what was happening. It was evidence of a negotiation of how to talk about that with your abuser.
But I am looking at a transcript that says, he says, you start physical fights, and you say, I did start a physical fight. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. I mean, this is in black and white. I understand context. But you're testifying and you're just telling me today, I never started a physical fight, and here you are on tape saying you did.
As I testified on the stand about this, is that when your life is at risk, not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't take the blame for, but when you're in an abusive dynamic, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, you don't have the resources that, say, you or I do with the luxury of saying, hey, this is black and white, because it's anything but when you're living in it.
But then there are other times, there's another tape where you're taunting him and saying, oh, tell the world, Johnny Depp, I, a man, am a victim of domestic violence.
20-second clips or the transcripts of them are not representative of even the 2 hours or the 3 hours that those clips are excerpt from.
Could your side have just put the whole 3 hours in then?
I'm not a lawyer. As I testified to, I was talking in those recordings as a...
I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I'm guessing that she could have put those whole 3 hours in, and they probably didn't paint her out to be any better. I'm guessing. Go hang out with James Franco and get hot, girl. Yeah, James Franco. He's in the outs club too. You might as well go and get in the canceled club with James. Old Jimmy Franco. Old underage Jimmy Franco fucking dude. That was bad. Brought her badly attempted gaslight is driving you mad. Yeah. If they both could record sounds of each other, why couldn't she just buy a nanny cam or something and actually have caught video proof of getting the beats? Yeah, there's a lot of things. I mean, especially that one video where she's recording him, trying to record him secretly. And you could see she's giddy about it. She's happy. Like there's some vindictive, happy, weird thing that's going on with her when it shows her face. She's like smiling, and Johnny's getting pissed, and his mom just died, and he's drunk, obviously drunk, slamming shit. It's just like you can see the twisted nature of this human being caught on camera, and you can hear the twisted nature of this human being when how she's talking to him. Like it's crazy. So many weird mysteries. Yeah, so strange.
Person, an extreme amount of emotional, psychological, and physical distress.
Yeah.
He
And
says
it
he
doesn't.
Yeah,
never
Morby.
hit you.
He can't-
Never. Is
yeah.
that a lie?
Yes, it is.
What about the witnesses who said they have seen you instigate physical violence?
I've seen firsthand how people will file rank and support the person they depend on.
Did they all come in and lie in court?
I am not here to call any of his witnesses any
Hey,
names.
Sarah.
I'm here to just kind of talk about it from.
Hey Sarah, welcome in. Yeah, this is me. This is how I appear on TV. I have my fancy clip-ons. Oh, the lights. This is how cool I am. You want to know how cool I am, Sarah? That cool. Yeah. 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 Anyway, what did I walk back into? Oh, we're back in the Amber Heard. We're back here. We're over here doing this. Welcome, Sarah. We're just deconstructing Amber Heard, and we're trying.
What it felt like for me as a person who sat there.
Oh,
When I asked his lawyers,
me showing off how cool I am with my clip-on sunglasses. The other day at work, one of the girls in the kitchen was in the break room, and I'm punching out, and I'm like, "All right, I'll see you later, bro." And she's like, "All right," and I was like, "I gotta roll," or so I said something really stupid. I was like, "I gotta roll," or "I got a jet," and I went, "Blop," and she just like, "What the fuck?" She just shook her head at me. It was lame. I was just basically showing how lame I was because I'm lame. I'm a lame-o. Anyways, we'll watch a few more minutes of this, and then we're gonna go over to the body language. You know what? Let's just jump over to the body language guy. So this dude is a body language expert, and I kind of want to get his perspective on it. You know how much I love the body language stuff, so here we go.
That to maybe choke up a bit. Along with that, though, there's the possibility that it is insecurity or a sign of insincerity into what she's saying. Does not
Kept out. Really important.
continue.
Dealt with the same substantive issues that had even more evidence in fact, my evidence was largely kept out. Really important pieces of evidence kept out. Done differently, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
some evidence is admissible in a UK court that is not admissible in a US court. Do you think that maybe he just had better lawyers?
I will say his lawyers did certainly a better job of distracting the jury from the real issues.
For some people,
Did a better job at distracting the jury of the real issues.
And we kind of talked about
That's
this.
fascinating that Amber decided to go with that phrasing of things. Now, along with that, we're seeing a lot of head nodding to go along and enforce with what they're saying, but we're also seeing these very large vocal halts as well. They're weighing their words, they're having difficulty processing in this area, but then Amber says that Depp's lawyers did a better job at trying to distract the jury from what was going on. Which, if you ask me, that does sound an awful lot like Amber Heard just admitted that part of her goal was to distract the jury from what was going on, but maybe just didn't do it as well. So that's not a great thing to say in an interview.
I would agree with that. See, that's an interesting perspective, right? Because it's like she's sort of admitting that she was sort of performative, and there was sort of a performative nature to that. And what is that, Naders? I know my Irish friends would call her. I don't know what that is, but I also heard that. How dare you, Morby?
To do that. So let's watch.
they just were frankly disgusted by the whole thing and don't have much sympathy for either one of you. Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered.
And I got to give it up to Savannah Guthrie for pressing these issues, you know what I mean? And like really, going in on her, didn't give her any leeway on this whole thing. So Savannah Guthrie did a really good job in all this.
And not think that it is Hollywood brats at their,
She's a
at
witch.
their worst. But what people don't understand is it's
I'm going to go ahead and pause that here. I don't feel like that's actually the opinion here. I don't think anybody's looking at this case, especially what is being dealt with in this case, and looking at it and being like, oh, these are Hollywood brats. While they might be from Hollywood, the issues that they're dealing with are very, very prevalent and very, very real, so nobody's looking at it that way. I find it interesting, again, that Amber's presentation and what she perceives herself as being perceived as is villainous, while it's not for the reasons that they're claiming it is. It's interesting. It's still a subtle form of diverting attention and shrugging blame. Refusing to take any of that accountability and blaming it now on other facets of a person's perception of them, so on and so forth. So let's go.
It's actually so much bigger than that. This is not only about our First Amendment right to speak.
But here's the thing about the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects free speech. It doesn't protect lies that amount to defamation. And that was the issue in the case.
Yes, exactly. You can't go into, the free speech does not protect you if you go into a crowded theater and you scream fire. We get the concept of free speech from.
So Amber's now rewording this, trying to agree with something. The interviewer called her out. No, you lied and were proven to have lied in your defamation. So that's the difficulty here. And Amber's like, yeah, the free speech does not protect lies like that.
Bon, yes. It's poop all the time. Every time.
You're absolutely right. Seeming as though they took in that information, acknowledged that, yeah, perhaps I did do a deceitful thing, but okay, let's shift the blame. Let's try to divert attention. Let's try to figure out a way to get the eyes off of the instance itself. I'm not sure. Let's go.
From the Greeks. My understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak. It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
The truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke.
Ooh, okay, this is fun.
Ooh.
Amber pulls out the pointy finger. This is a domination gesture. This is, I'm making a point. Nobody will bring out the pointy finger if they don't feel like they're making a point. So Amber is now trying to take this moral high ground of being like, and that, I just feel about free speech. This is what it is. And she mansplains what free speech is and then says that it's about the truth. And in return, a reciprocal finger comes out from the interviewer. And they're like, oh, but that's the issue, is the truth. And now we're going to hear Amber say that she said nothing but the truth, which we already know is not true. We've seen verbatim, they themselves contradict themselves throughout this trial. So let's just see how they do that. I'm quite curious.
I spoke, and I spoke it to power, and I paid the price.
In the closing arguments, the DEP lawyer called your testimony the performance of a lifetime and said you were acting. What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers.
Look at her face.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Amber's response, boiled down, stripped down to the basic level of it, is, well, I wasn't the only one acting. Oh, okay. Wow. That's true. Perhaps. That doesn't, just because somebody else is acting and lying doesn't mean that you can. What? That's not an excuse. That's not even a reason. All right.
I'm the performer. I had listened to.
Nobody was convinced that his scissor hands were real. Johnny acted back in 1982. Yeah. Back in the day, baby. Back in the day.
Weeks of testimony insinuating that, or saying quite directly that, I'm a terrible actress. So I'm a bit confused how I could be both.
The DEP team argued that you were the
He started
abuser,
it.
that you instigated.
That is a funny point. If they put on a performance of a lifetime for this trial, but they're not a great actor, is it really? Well, I suppose the performance of a lifetime could be lackluster if that's the case, and then nobody technically lied there.
This is
But
what
I will
we're
also
talking
say
about.
that I wouldn't consider what they did a performance of a lifetime either. Even in just their presentation themselves and the areas where we found these red flags, and it was proven that
Is he calling her they, them? Is that her pronoun? Is they, them or Amber's pronoun?
they had been deceitful in these areas. The reasons that we were having
you like
issues is
the
because
shit,
of the
well.
general desynchronization that you can see during people showing deceit. Those are the difficulties. So yes, you may have put on the performance of a lifetime, but that doesn't mean that it was convincing whatsoever. And then that also being said, I do believe that there were probably elements of Amber's testimony that were quite true.
Yeah.
Even the synchronization from it did seem to lean towards that. And once again, in a relationship, it is a two-way street.
Yeah.
So
My
I'm
brain
curious to know
hurts.
what other details there might be that I'm not personally privy to, but I do find that interesting. So let's continue.
Physical violence. Did you?
I never had to instigate it. I responded to it. When you're living in violence and it becomes normal, as I testified to, you have to adapt.
You say you were responding, but there is evidence. There are tapes in which you acknowledge hitting. There are tapes in which you say, I started the fight.
I know much has been made of these audio tapes. They were first leaked online after being edited. What
Bonnie.
you would hear in those clips are not evidence of what
Me
was
too.
happening. It was evidence of a negotiation of how to talk about that.
I don't necessarily buy into that. It seemed quite straightforward, and for the court to have accepted it as evidence, then obviously it couldn't have been heavily doctored, because then that would have sacrificed the quality or reliability of said evidence.
Never heard
so
of her.
I doubt that. I
You
highly
better
doubt
stop,
that it was
Morby.
still kept as admissible evidence if it had been tampered
Let's
with.
jump ahead forward a
So,
little bit because we've seen a lot of
With
this.
what Amber wanted. The interview point.
Lawyer, as I testified to, I was talking in those recordings as a person in extreme amount of emotional, psychological, and physical distress.
He
And
says
it
he
doesn't.
never hit you.
He can't-
Never. Is
yeah.
that a lie?
Yes, it is.
What about the witnesses who said they have seen you instigate physical violence?
I've seen firsthand how people will file rank and support the person they depend on.
Did they all come in and lie in court?
I am not here to call any of
Yeah, that was a role I
these
played back
witnesses
then.
any names. I'm here to just kind of talk about it from what it felt like for me as the person who sat there.
Now they're having a lot of difficulty because they're finding themselves trapped into this corner of now they're trying to call out other people. They're hanging their responsibility on any singular party. And as this interviewer is slowly shutting down those different avenues of hanging on any singular party, they're having more and more difficulty figuring out.
Yes, every time we hear pirates, yo ho ho, and a barrel of amber, and a barrel of a bottle of amber. I don't know, a poop pirate maybe, a butt slut maybe, a butt slut. No, stop. Why? Yeah, you program that into our heads now, Nader Tater. What the hell?
A way to come across as a good person in this, largely because it does seem as though they are not a good person in this. Now, in the area where Johnny Depp claims that he never hit Amber Heard's response was fully synchronized. Now, that would indicate to me that at least in that moment, they do believe what they're saying, or they're presenting it rather well. We know that Amber Heard can be quite desynchronized when under pressure, so seeing that synchronization come out in this area, perhaps. It is still matched with the aggression of the lowered eyebrows and a little bit of the tenseness in the jaw, things like that, but it is synchronized. So I think that's important to note that perhaps there's something that we need to continue to look at in regards to their relationship. There may be more dynamic than what we are aware of. Just from that small blip there, let's continue.
She is not. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We can't associate Amber Turd with butt sluts. It's just, she's a poop pirate. That's it. Poop pirate. Poop pirate Amber Turd, everybody. Oh my God. Could you imagine what kind of state of mind you have to be in to squat over someone's bed and just shit one out, just like really push one out? What kind of state of mind were you in to just be like, I hate this son of a bitch so much that I'm going to teach him a lesson. I'm going to sit here and squat over his side of the bed. I'm going to take off my pants. Maybe she didn't take them off. Maybe she just pulled them down. She just pulled them down, squatted down, found her position, because it's hard to stand up on a bed, especially squat on a bed. I feel like it's hard to squat on a bed. So she had to like really balance herself, right? She had to get her balance. She probably fell over a couple times, right? She probably had to get her balance. She's just sitting there, and then she had to come up with the shit and the poo to come running out of her butthole. You never poop standing up? I don't. I can't. I feel like that wouldn't work right. Territorial behavior, I say. Oh, geez. She sure has some issues. Yeah. Just because I rob a few booties don't make me a pirate. Hey. Hey.
Out in the street, they call it murder.
If I had to, I would just poop in the toilet and use kitty litter scooper to move the poop and delicate and put it nicely on his pillow. All right, Fonzie. Hey, you suck. Listen, this is bed shitting 101 right here. You've heard it first from the butt sluts. If you're gonna do it right. Do it right. And then go out to Hooters afterwards. All right? You're going to take the whole family to Hooters after you delicately place a shit on your lover's bed, on their pillow. I'm a thinker. Hooters. We're going to Hooters, y'all.
When I asked his lawyers, why do you think you won? And the answer I got was because she never took responsibility for anything she did in the marriage.
I did do and say horrible, regrettable things.
I did do.
Throughout my relationship. I behaved in horrible, almost unrecognizable to myself ways. There's so much. I have so much regret.
A lot of no shaking in here. It's all macro. We can assume that it's all consciously controlled. We're seeing a lot of the disgust, contempt, and scorn come into her face. But we also are now hearing this verbal thing, which is allowing us to have some context as well, where they're trying to clearly draw a line between themselves now and their actions now and their actions then. So now this is a subtle way of them admitting, yeah, I did terrible things before. It's not so subtle. Even here, they just said, yeah, no, I was a terrible human being, did all these terrible things, blah, blah, blah. But that's not who I am now. So you can't really be mad at me about it for then because it's not me now, which that could be fair. People can grow and they can change. It doesn't seem as though that's happened here, but perhaps we're missing something. Let's continue.
Oh my God. You guys, Jesus Christ. You guys just kept it going. Go to Taco Bell before, though. It comes down to good depends. You better calm down, Naders. It depends. Do you wear underwear or do you wear boxers? It depends.
Freely and openly and voluntarily talked about what I did. I talked about the horrible language. I talked about being pushed to the extent where
I've talked about pooping on people's beds.
I didn't even know the difference between, right and wrong. I will always continue to feel like I was a part of this, like I was the other half of this relationship, because I was. And it was ugly and could be very beautiful. It was very, very toxic. And we were awful to each other. I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. But I've always told the truth.
So I'm going to go ahead and stop that there. I'm a little suspicious that that is not the full interview and that it seemed like it just kind of dropped there. So maybe I don't know. You have to let me know in the comments below. Was this a good look at this interview? This new
because she does admit that she's still in love with Johnny Depp too.
Savannah Guthrie also brought up Amber Heard's Instagram post from the first day of the trial, in which she wrote that, quote, "I have always maintained a love for Johnny."
Is that still true?
Yes,
After everything?
absolutely. Absolutely. I love him.
Ugh.
I loved him with all my heart. And I tried the best I could to make a deeply broken relationship work. And I couldn't. I have no bad feelings or ill will towards him at all.
What?
I know that might be hard to understand, or it might be really easy to understand. If you've just ever loved anyone, it should be easy.
So there you have it. Amber Heard admits that she still loves Johnny Depp. And really, from watching the trial unfold, watching every minute of it, I don't find this revelation surprising at all.
No, not at all. And she's fucking batshit crazy. Batshit. That's just. It's just not. It's just not. It's just not a good look at all, you know. Unfortunately, she just doesn't have it together, y'all. She just does not have it together. But yeah. Anyways. Well, there you go. Hopefully we don't have to go back and revisit this anymore. I'm hoping maybe I'll just stick to making yeah, right? Like, that's the thing, is like, that is the precipice, right? That is what pushed her to this, is that she, nuttier than a squirrel turd, nuttier than a fucking Amber turd. It's this base, this foundation of love, as she puts it, is what pushes this all to this point, right? This is what that is this belief that she loves somebody, and the disbelief on it's not reciprocated, and how could he do this to her? And you can hear it in these crazy pleas when she's talking to him. I mean, we can just listen to a little bit of this, and it's really hard to listen to.
Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Dave Neal.
About any of this, and I am not after a dime of your money. And you know what? I was told by Laura after the first thing, the reason that I stupid clicked I'm seeking spousal support, because I was told that that was my only option, because no divorce attorney would ever say not and then lose all rights to everything. Laura Wasser had proposed that I leave, not proposed, I'm sorry, said I would have to leave. I'd be kicked out, be evicted, so Rock and Josh and everybody, evicted within 21 days.
Okay, so she was spooked that she'd be getting...
I mean, you could just hear the desperation in her voice, and when he goes and says, you know, this will be the last time we make eye contact, and she's just sitting there pleading for him to look at her, look at me, you know, like, it's this deranged love that she still holds for him that would push this case to this far. She's so fucking wrapped up in this idea that they were a couple, and she just can't believe what it is now. And that it's crazy to think that that's what love is to her. That love is what pushed her here. And after everything that's been brought out in court, after everything, the internet has been horrible to her, me included, to say that she still holds that weird malfunction of love that she holds is like, whew, that's wild. But love will make you do crazy things, right? Love will make you do